everybody, Chris McDonald with you, back for another week of McFile broadcasting. And I tell you what, we would not be the McFiles without this guy right here. I love to see this gentleman when he comes. Victor Avila, Agent Under Fire. We've got the show entitled Border Under Fire tonight by the Agent Under Fire. It is good to see my dear buddy Victor Avila back in the house with us tonight on this Monday night to get us started out on this really first official week of December. Victor, so good to see you, man. Every time you come on, we get very, very good reviews. People really beg us to have you back, and we're grateful to have you. And as we get into 24, I'm sure we're going to have you on more. We got an election year coming up, and I think this border is going to be really a big issue. And we're planning on coming down to the border for the fourth time next year sometime. You do personal bodyguard duties, right?
We'll take care of you. Now,
there may be some listening to this program that they were hoping you said that. No, you're on your own, McDonald, and they hope they would never see me again. But not so lucky out there tonight. Hey, man, it's good to see you. I know you've been busy. I'm going to let you have a chance, but let me welcome you first. Good to see you tonight. But tell us what you've been doing. I know you've been making several trips down there, and I tell you, I've been watching some of your reporting. It's a mess down there, man. It's look, I've been down there 3 times. I think the first 2 times I went under Trump. The third time I went right after this fiasco of 2020. It was into 21. And that event in 21, I was nervous. I mean, honestly, God, I was actually nervous being down there because I've never seen just what happened in a matter of 3 months, really 2 months after this. They've opened the gates of hell on us, man. And if these people in this audience tonight, I love them. I don't care where they are in this nation, whether they're up in the Northeast, the Northwest, the Northern Plains, the Southeast, middle of the country, this affects all of us because this border has gotten so wide open that these illegals, it is like an invasion, Vic. I mean, it is like a massive invasion of a foreign country. But the thing is, it's not just foreign country, it's foreign countries that we're being invaded by tonight. What say you, buddy?
Great to be back with you, Chris. Thank you so much. And yeah, I've been busy. As people know, I'm running for Congress in Texas to change all this. But let's talk about what's going on. Arizona is getting hit hard right now. Arizona is it's an invasion. They're under siege with just a number of people. Eagle Pass, Texas, El Paso, Texas. I just got back from Del Rio, Texas. Remember that?
Yes.
Kind of how the Haitians and all, and they've been very quiet. Well, really quick, I'll tell you, I was there for a couple of days, and while I was there, I had a briefing from the lieutenant from DPS that's in charge of that area, and I knew a lot of this stuff going on, and I was still blown away. First of all, the number of illegals roaming the streets in Del Rio, Texas was incredible. So I myself drive around there, and they're everywhere. They're at the gas station. They have taken over these self-service car washes, the bays. They took those as temporary shelter. So the Del Rio Police Department, while I was there, that morning I woke up and they set out and put out a public safety alert for their citizens. Why? Because of the crime. The illegals are committing a lot of crimes, robberies, burglaries, vehicle thefts, you name it. And the people are afraid. They're scared. They're scared. The lieutenant and his daughters have changed. Wow. Even his own daughter, the police have changed his daughters on how they get home, the route they take, and what to do to avoid being a victim of a crime. This is absurd. Arizona is, if you just go online and check it out, the numbers are incredible. And like you said, I want people to stop for a second and just remove Mexican nationals and Central Americans, because even though believe it, they're not. That's a small percentage of them coming.
Exactly.
It is Chinese nationals.
Yes.
Lebanese, Nepalese from Nepal. I'm sorry. Special interest aliens from Bangladesh.
Yes.
Syria, Africa, from all different parts of Africa. And you're thinking, what in the world is going on? Well, guess what? Like you said, they're making it to every corner of our country. And I was just seeing a report that came out from Senator Durbin, I think is his name.
Yeah.
He wants to give all the illegals an opportunity to apply to the U.S. military so they could get citizenship. They're telling us the bad part out loud. You know, everybody said, well, they're going to be voters. Yes.
But they're going to be in the military.
And the military. Amnesty, yes. They want to be counted illegally so they could represent them in Congress. Yes. Well, now they also want them to serve in the military to get them the citizenship that way. Why? Because a major portion or percentage of the people coming over are single adult military age males. And you see it in the videos. Now, the left-wing media will only show you the family groups.
That's right.
Yes, those are coming too. But that's actually a very small percentage, because what's still happening is you see these thousands and tens of thousands of people coming up and turning themselves into Border Patrol. But the smuggling is the part that people don't talk about. We have another set of millions of people that are being smuggled. And you think, why are you being smuggled? You could walk up to the Border Patrol. This administration has allowed you to come in. All you have to do is turn yourself in. But they don't want to do that. Why? Because they have criminal histories. Because, believe it or not, some of them, even with no criminal histories, would rather get smuggled because they don't want to get fingerprinted. They don't want their picture taken. And so they really not want to have any identities to come into this country. And I just got back from Florida, literally right now. I landed a couple of hours ago. And the Venezuelan problem of the illegal aliens coming. And I spoke to American Venezuelans. And they tell me, Victor, you please put it out there. You do media. We are not them. They're making us look very bad. We are hardworking Americans. We came here legally. And they're pissed.
Yes.
These
Absolutely,
these
they
people are the ones that are coming. A lot of them are communists. They're Hugo Chavez sympathizers and are actually being infiltrated and invading us on purpose by that regime into our country, not because they want to be Americans like my parents and assimilate to the United States and become a fruitful member of the community. No, because they want Venezuela here. And it's out of control. And I'll tell you really quick, I was in El Paso 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago. And there's a group of about 200 out there in downtown El Paso. And I went over and talked to them. I said, are you guys going to get processed or not? Oh, no, we already got processed by Border Patrol, they tell me. I said, what are you doing here? Well, we don't have any money to get a ticket or an airplane ticket. And one lady, a Venezuelan national, tells me, I had a house. I said, you had a house in Venezuela? Because most of these Venezuelans have not lived in Venezuela, by the way. They've lived in Ecuador, Peru, Colombia, the surrounding countries. And she says, yeah, actually, we lived in Peru, and I had a house, and I was doing okay. And I said, what are you doing? You're on the sidewalk. You have nothing to eat. You have no food. You have no shelter. You have no job. You're worse off now. She says, I am. I said, so why did you come? Because they said that if we came to the United States, we would get rich.
Who told them that, do you think? Who do you think told them that, Vic? Our government?
Everybody told them. Biden told them that. Their own government told them that. And all the other illegal aliens and the NGOs, the non-governmental organizations, and all these organizations that are illegally moving the people that have been given the authorization by this authority. And let me tell you, that upset me. I said, listen, I'm going to tell you something very frank. And I'm standing here in front of you. And I'm the real product of the American dream. My parents immigrated to this country legally. They assimilated to this country. They worked hard every single day so I could be right here standing in front of you. And for my sisters and I to go to school. And they never were a public charge to this country. They didn't take anything from the government. They didn't want anything. They just wanted to be able to give back. And they did, through the church, through the community. And it really upset me because now they feel entitled. Now they're coming with, well, I guess they're going to take care of me. Because a lot of people say this, Chris. Well, they're Venezuelans. They're escaping communism and socialism. And that's why they don't want that anymore. No. That's what they want. That's all they want
to bring it here.
They want to bring it here.
They want to bring it here. That's exactly right. Victor, let me ask you this. This is a political question. You're running for Congress. You mentioned I've got another name for Durbin. I can't use on my program tonight because this is somewhat of a family show, so I've got to keep it PG-13. I don't want to sometimes. But I got another name for Mr. Durbin. But anyway, what he's doing He ain't the only one in Congress that is responsible for letting this onslaught of hell come up. And I got to say this because, look, I've been down there, and I got a dear friend, Rolando Rodriguez, who took me to the wall, literally took me to the wall at the Mexican-U.S. border. We could see the cartels, literally, across the river. And he said, those are cartel people over there. And he said, I want you to come over and look at this. And he showed me this wall. And he said, every week we get a U.S. politician, a senator, and he named some Republicans along with Democrats. He said they bring their carcasses down here. They set up a camera right here. They film a 5-minute video. We're going to get tough on the border. We got to fix this border. And he said they get their money raised. They raise money off of that. Then they carry their carcasses, and I got another word for that, back to D.C., and they do nothing. Right. My question to you, my friend, is how many Victor Avilas are we going to need to change that course? Because I know you're just one man, buddy. I know you've got the heart for this. I know you've got the, not only the heart, you got the guts. I know you, and I've watched your story. Victor Avila's got the right stuff to fix this. But my question to you, are there enough other voices in Congress to fix this? And I'm talking about the House and the Senate. And Victor, you know you ain't going to get no help from the presidency unless President Trump gets reelected. But you're dealing with something right now with this administration. And I don't know if we can survive another year of this onslaught, my friend, because look, we're talking millions here. We're not talking thousands anymore. I mean, I've heard anywhere up to 50 million people have come in since Biden took office. I don't know if that figure's accurate.
No, that's a total number of possible illegal aliens in our country total.
But still, that's a lot.
Administration, probably 15 or more.
Okay.
Think about that number.
That's a lot,
more
though.
Than most communities and even big cities.
That's an army. You think about an army being armed. 15 million people with armed weapons. Victor, my God, I mean, you know, I was watching a movie the other day about Mumbai, the Hotel Mumbai. It happened, this terrorist attack happened in November of 2008. It was November 26th. And I watched this movie, 12 kids, 12 teenagers with automatic machine guns killed 178 people in a matter of 12 hours. And you multiply that by 15 million, brother. And you and I both know these people are bringing all sorts of weapons across that border. They're bringing everything under the sun. The cartels are arming these people. There is no telling what's coming over. I'm thinking of the Hamas situation. Oh. I do not doubt that there are not Hamas terrorists embedded in this onslaught coming across this country. And if 12 boys, if 19 hijackers, Victor, took down the two Twin Towers and the Pentagon and would have taken down the Capitol if it not been for the folks in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. There is no telling what 15 million people armed. And again, you're right. They're not coming over here for the American dream. They're coming over here to make it the communist dream. And they're coming over to make it the Islamic dream. Yeah. And they're wanting to change this into a hellhole. And I got another term for that President Trump used and got in trouble for. But they're trying to turn America into a turd hole. Correct?
It's 100%. And so you asked me, I will be another one. We got a few people that are fighting in Congress. I need to supplement that. We need a lot more of me's in there because we bring something different. I tell people, I'm a real person. I've lived it. I actually worked here. I almost lost my life doing it. I understand the real threat. I've seen the evil with my own eyes. Human trafficking, the fentanyl, the drugs. I've seen that firsthand. No one's going to tell me secondhand. I lived it and I know how to solve it. And yes, I'm going to do anything and everything I can. And you know me, I'm not afraid of these people.
Right.
They don't intimidate me one bit. I don't care how much power and money they have. I will challenge them as much as I can because what I'm going to do is something very basic. Give the power back to the people. I don't want it. I don't want the power. You pay me my salary and I know that I'm going to be an employee of the people. This is the problem with the United States of America is that they have forgotten that all of U.S. Congress are employees of ours.
They are.
We're the employer.
Come on,
and
buddy.
We need to shift that back because it's other people running the show. It's the donor class. It's the special interest. It's all this other stuff. It's the party. Well, I don't care about any of that. I care about the people. I care about the state of Texas. And I care about the United States. And I'm going to do everything that I can to help save it. And it sounds, it's now, people say it like a cliche. It's not. We need to fight and save our country because we are losing it as you and I speak. Millions of people are coming in. And I want to say something real quick. Oh, illegal immigration. You know what? Yes, that's a huge part of it. But it's terrorism.
It's terrorism, Victor.
People,
come on.
I interviewed these people in Mexico years ago, what we call special interest aliens, SIAs coming from all these countries. They were already in Mexico. Well, what better way? They've been setting up shop for a long time. But the difference back then is that we had enforcement. It doesn't exist anymore. And this is the part, I'm not a fearmonger. I'm just telling you the truth here. Are they here? Right. Absolutely. DEA did a huge case years back on the cartels combining forces with Hezbollah. Why? Because Hezbollah and Hamas need money. Who generates billions of dollars? The cartels do. And so the terrorist organization will do whatever to get that money to finance their terrorist activities.
That's right, buddy.
We're talking about China, precursors for fentanyl. We're talking about Iran. We're talking about Cuba. You never hear about Cuba. Cuba's best friends with Mexico. It's a communist country. Venezuela is actively invading us. They have literally emptied their prisons and rehabilitation centers and send them our way with the condition that they would come to the United States. And not just the criminals, but the soldiers, the communists, the enforcers they're already here. There's a place in Dallas, Texas, Chris, called Villa Venezuela. They renamed that little neighborhood, which is basically a big apartment complex, and they took over. And I was talking to my friend in Florida about that. He knew all about it. He says, well, guess what? Florida's becoming all of it. It's all Venezuelans, and this is the threat that we're facing. They're not following our Constitution.
No,
they're not abiding by our law and order. And that's what assimilating to this country means, is that you follow law and order, you follow the rules, you do what Americans lawfully do. They don't want to do that because they don't even know how to interact with police. It's different in their country. It's corrupt. And although we have a bunch of corruption in our country too, we still have law-abiding citizens that want this constitutional republic to continue as it was created. And let me tell you, the left, and by the way,
the right,
some that claim to be on the right, the guy I'm running against in primary, Tony Gonzalez, is a prime example of why we have a primary system.
That's right.
To get these people out. Not only, I think he's a full-blown Democrat with an R in front of his name, has betrayed, these are the words of the people, of the constituents. He betrayed us, he abandoned us. But he's only on his second term.
I know.
How quickly did they turn on the people? He lied and lied and lied. And I'll tell you what I bring, and you know me, I'm going to bring integrity back.
Yes, you are.
I'm proud of having that.
I know you will.
And we're going to do it. We're going to change it. You'll see in 2024, Trump's going to get back in. I was with Tom Homan last night. He's endorsed my campaign, and Tom is coming back, and he's going to create the biggest deportation enforcement action this country has ever seen. Why? Because it's the law. It has nothing to do with racism. It has nothing to do with anything that the left spews, because it's the law. And a lot of these people already have deportation orders against them, and nobody's looking for them.
They're never going to find them, Victor. They're not going to find these people. That's what's scary. I know y'all will, but that's you're bringing me into my next question for you. This is it's maybe a little tough on you. Tough question, because I don't know what. Look, Chris, I'm a Southerner. Okay, this is why Chris ain't president of the United States, because Chris wouldn't survive the first press conference, and he wouldn't survive the first 5 days in office, because this crap would get cleaned up in about 5 days if I had the power to do it. Number one, these 50 million that you talked about is already here, counting the 15 that's come in 2 years. Their carcasses would be headed back to their countries if they're not here legally. That's number one. My question to you is a hard one, because see, I know this ain't easy. What do you do with the 50 million illegals that are already here? And and you and I both know, buddy, look, the bottom line is, and I'm not saying every single individual is like this, but a majority of these people have no intention whatsoever of ever becoming legal. Victor, They don't want to become legal in our country. They just care about breaking the law. And we can't just sit there as American citizens and say, okay, y'all tear our nation to smithereens by destroying the rule of law, by destroying our Constitution, by killing our people, killing individuals, raping individuals, drugging cities, sending fentanyl over the border like a freaking tidal wave. Let's just sit around and have a Coke and chit-chat about this and say, what a terrible thing, and not do anything about it. It ain't going to happen, Victor. But the question is, what do we do? What can the government do to get these people where they need to be? If they don't want to get illegal, Bye-bye. See ya.
I'm a realist. I'm a logical person, and I'm going to tell you the truth. Are we going to get the 30, 50, however many are here in this country? Are we going to get them all? No.
I know.
That's the reality.
It is.
Let me tell you. Just because we know that doesn't mean that we're not going to try. So the securing the border part is pretty easy. You implement the policies. You let the Border Patrol back. That's going to be the easy part. We're going to flip a switch there. That's going to be good. We designate the cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. We'll deal with that. Then we have to go pick up the illegals. So we have a bunch of them that we already have millions that we have identified already. And there's another group that I want to go after. And these are the overstays. There are more overstays in this country, believe it or not, that came in with a visa.
Great point.
And they think that they're legal because they came in with a visa. The visa has been expired for years. No, you're not. You're completely as illegal as if you would have come through that Rio Grande. And so we go after them. I believe, in my experience, that when we start picking up all these people, especially the overstays, we're going to see a large amounts of self-deportation of people because they are going to start looking over the shoulder. We want them to look over the shoulder. A lot of people, they live in the shadows. They're not going to report crimes.
I'm with you.
Listen, you're breaking the law, and I'm a real person. There are people in this country that have been here for 20 years, other than coming here illegally, have never committed a crime. They don't have any DUIs. Some of them, believe it or not, are taxpayers. But it's a matter of individual vetting.
Yes.
It's a matter of individual vetting. Now,
very true,
you have the legal system of the immigration that it is broken. It was already cracked, and then this administration just dismantled it. That, we always say, those people are waiting in line. There's not even a line right now.
No.
They have been ignored completely. We got to go back to make sure that if you are one of those people that qualify, you're going to do it the legal way, and we will work with that. But the majority of these people, like you said, they got to go. They got to go. And if you want to come back legally, then you do it. People tell me, you're going to separate children. Listen, take your children with you.
Take your children with you. Come on.
Take your children with you. They're U.S. citizens. Take them with you. Raise them. Go apply. Do it the right way. Everything that you see right now, the CBP1 app, the paroles, all that is illegal. All these 15 million people that have come in under this administration are going to find out the hard way in 2024 that they have absolutely no status in this country. This administration has lied to them. I tell people all the time, I compare it for me doing a search warrant. If you give me information that is fraudulent information and I go conduct a search warrant, all that stuff is the fruit of the poisonous tree. I cannot be able to use it in a court because I did it illegally.
It's so true.
Well, that's what's happening right now. They're coming in here illegally. I don't care if the Biden administration is letting them. They're letting them do it by breaking the law. And they're not going to have any status. And they're going to go. And they're going to go. And a lot of people do tell me, you're not going to find them. We're the police. We're going to find them. We're going to find them.
You just put McDonald in your Homeland Security division. Trust me, McDonald will handle things the McDonald Southern way. Hey, I got an interesting question for you. I was watching something tonight before we came on. Chicago, of all places, most liberal city in the world. The Dems this weekend were literally screaming to the Biden administration, telling them, you're bringing the Democrat National Convention to this city this year. We got news for you. You're not going to bring it here because we're going to make sure that you realize that all of our jobs are gone thanks to you bringing these illegals to our city. My question to you is this. I was getting a chuckle out of it. I really was. I was like, this is going to be the linchpin of the Democrat Party. How big, scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the biggest, 1 being the least, scale of 1 to 10, how big a campaign issue is this going to be for both parties this year? Because, Victor, I see something happening right now. I'm beginning to see Democrats even catch the wave of reality that we can't keep sustaining this. And look, it's funny when CNN starts saying this and MSNBC starts saying this. It's because they know it's going to be a bomb, a time bomb that's going to go off in the Democratic Party, and there ain't going to be many left after it's done because people are piss poor, fed up to see this onslaught of hell against this country, me included. But I'm an independent voter. But this is going to affect the Democrat vote. I believe Biden's in trouble over this. I do. I'm not so sure it's not going to get him ousted in the primary with somebody. That's just my opinion. What's yours?
Everyone I talk to, the number one issue is the border.
I think it is.
The border. They'll go border, economy. Sometimes they'll go economy, border. Now, border, and the economy. It's still there. It's still a big factor. And I tell them, I link the border issue with the economy.
Absolutely.
You know how much money we're spending? Billions of dollars. Multi-billions of dollars on taking care of the illegals. I would love to give that money. If we're going to spend it anyway, how about we give it to you as citizens, homeless, veterans, mentally ill? There's a lot of people that need help in our country that we're giving it to illegals. I was in Eagle Pass, Texas, and that's part of my district, and I was talking. There was a group of Democrats that came out to hear me. There's a lot of Democrats in the border towns, right? They're like, we're going to vote for you. They're jumping ship. They're saying exactly what you just said, Chris. You hit it right on the nail. They are fed up. They want somebody to protect them.
Absolutely.
They want public safety. They want national security. That's the responsibility of government at any level, is to protect its citizens. They don't feel safe. Despite the crime surge that we have in this country, because nobody wants to prosecute anybody, the criminals are the victims and the victims are the criminals, all upside down and backwards. And now you're adding to that formula people from all over the world committing more crimes. I talked to police departments in Tulsa, all in Texas, in South Dakota, all these places. I was in Alabama. And they tell me, Victor, we still have the same number of police officers. Our budget is still the same. It didn't increase with the millions of people that have come into the state. And now we don't know what to do.
So true, buddy.
We literally, they're taking.
They don't.
We're talking about reality. I'm talking about response times. I'm talking about family violence. I'm talking about traffic incidents. We have Texas DPS troopers, almost all of them at the border right now. But you know where they're not? They're not in the rural counties patrolling the highways, helping our small sheriffs and police departments. And you know what's happening in these small towns? Crime has gone up. Family violence, fatalities, DUIs. Why? Because the troopers aren't there. They're down at the border trying to at least arrest people that already have come in. They're not keeping them from coming in. They're at least trying to stop them at one point once they hit into Texas.
This is another political question. It's an opinion question. Why do you think Biden has went so far left on this issue? Because, Victor, honestly, look, I wouldn't have voted for Joe Biden. I don't care whether he's moderate or right or left or whatever. Joe Biden would have never got my vote in 10 million years. But I've talked to some Dems, and they even are stunned at how far left he's taken this nation. And my question to you is, it's a serious question. Number one, is this being done deliberately? But number two, what forces, and I know the George Soros connection and all this, but I think it goes beyond George Soros. I think this goes to an element in this country that fundamentally wants to see America destroyed. And I'm not so sure that the President of the United States tonight has not basically catered to that element in allowing this travesty. Nobody, I don't mean this disrespectfully tonight, nobody can be this damn stupid to allow this onslaught unless it's deliberate. Am I far off on that?
You're 100% correct. It's 100% deliberate. Do not have a doubt about that. This is done on purpose. It is fundamentally changing the fabric of our country. And it's not Joe Biden, people.
Come on.
It's Obama.
It's Obama.
It's a lot of non-elected
Absolutely.
officials that are running this country.
Very well said, Victor.
We have, and it's at every level, by the way. We obviously talk about the federal government, but it's the state level and local level where they're killing us, literally, with their left-wing policies. That's why when they hit New York and Chicago and they get North Carolina, Denver, have you heard what's going on in Denver? They're out of control over there too. Why?
Wow. They're
like, wait a minute, what's going on? That's why they're turning on them. And everybody knows that this man is very sick. It's not him. I believe it's Obama and Susan Rice. These people, and who else? It's China. I think it's Ukraine. I think it's a lot of other people that are not. They do not have the best interest of Americans first. They are not America first people. I'm a very America first candidate, America first citizen. I love this country, and all of a sudden I get called names because how dare you be America first? How dare you want to protect our sovereignty? Especially because I'm a Hispanic American. And you know what? Especially because of that. Especially, I'm born and raised in this country, and sometimes people are like, well, you're Hispanic, you're supposed to be a Democrat. Listen, I was born and raised as a conservative. I don't know how to be anything else because that's who my parents are. But the left has done this incredible job of brainwashing the Hispanic community and a lot of the black community to saying for the past 50 years, we're going to take care of you. And I tell people, what do you have to lose at this point to vote for a Republican? What? Nothing.
Nothing.
Literally nothing. Maybe you'll get lower inflation. Maybe you will be able to buy a house. Maybe you will be able to afford groceries. Maybe, have you noticed the gas prices? They started trickling down a little bit. What a coincidence right before the election year. And let me tell you, I talked to a lot of people, and especially Democrats in this district, and they're like, we've had enough.
I bet you they have.
And so there's a shot to change it.
One final question. Let me just make a house cleaning note here, folks. You're watching a very special live McFiles Monday night, getting started off on a bang with my dear buddy Victor Avila tonight. If you got a question, we've opened the chat up in Facebook and YouTube tonight for a few minutes. He's been on the road, so I'm going to get him out of here without keeping him until midnight tonight. We'll get him on another night for 2 hours. But listen, Mayorkas, the Homeland Security Director, what role is he playing in this? Because I was stunned. I shouldn't be stunned at anything that comes out of the mouth of these bureaucrats, but I was stunned in the middle of this morass that he comes out here 2 weeks ago. And you know what he was concerned with? He was concerned with border agents. Hold your breath on this one. You probably already heard this.
Oh, yeah.
That they were misrepresenting pronouns of the illegals coming across the border. Victor, again, I mean, look, I got a little 5-year-old grandson. If I was to look at him and say, this dude is asking the question that we're more concerned about the pronouns of the illegal aliens coming into the country. What do you think about that? My 5-year-old grandson would look at me and say, Papa Mac, he's just plain stupid. He would probably use the word plain, but he's just plain moronic. He's just a plain moron. He's a plain imbecile. Victor, this is the thing that scares me. We're in the middle of a war, brother. Look, we think that this war in the Middle East just is affecting Israel. It's not. It's affecting all of us because, see, the same people that did what they did to Israel on October the 7th are salivating to do the same thing here. But our blanking government tonight is more concerned whether a transgender male, we're going to call him a man or a woman, instead of worrying about who's a danger to the United States of America. And I'm not saying that with any disrespect to any class of people tonight. But what I am saying is when it comes to national security, I think there's a lot more important things than whether he's a he or a she. Correct?
Absolutely. At Mayorkas, this is the problem with the Republicans. They can't even impeach
him. They can't impeach him.
The guy that I'm running against would not support his impeachment until all of a sudden last week. Marjorie Taylor Greene tried to do it, and guess who's there? Tony Gonzalez is attaching himself to Marjorie. I just saw her last night, and I talked to her about it, and she was a little stunned about it because why are you allowing this guy to come in and pretend now that he's all for security? And let me tell you, Mayorkas, he's not a moron.
No, he's not.
This is real. They want to do this.
They want to do this.
He's consciously doing this. He goes up to the Border Patrol agents when he comes down to the border and insults them to their face. The Border Patrol agent, it's like telling a doctor something very specific about a surgery when the doctor knows that that's not real. You can't do that. And he tells you that you're wrong. Oh, the Border Patrol agents are wrong? What, are you kidding me? This guy is evil. Evil. If he had any grain of integrity, any grain of decency, he would not go along with the Biden regime. He would say, I'll give you a great example. Rodney Scott, who's a friend of mine, He was the chief of Border Patrol under Trump, and then came over after Biden took over. He quit. He said,
Yes.
I'm not going to follow your orders as a chief of the Border Patrol. You're asking me to do all this crazy stuff. I'm not going to do it. He actually ended up being fired because he had something called integrity, decency, and said, I'm not going to let you use me to violate. Now, having said that, it's not the Border Patrol agents' fault on the ground.
Absolutely.
I had one of my opponents yelling, "You treasonous, you traitors." Listen, it's not them. These people have to feed their families and need health insurance. How about you quit your job out of the blue and you have no one to feed your family? They are put in a very peculiar situation.
Absolutely,
14 Border Patrol agents have committed suicide this year.
Wow.
Alone.
Did not know
14. National Guardsmen, and I'm going to take you down there in Eagle Pass. Over a half a dozen have committed suicide. One over the Thanksgiving weekend. I got a call on Saturday and said, "Victor, did you hear the news?" I said, "No. We lost another one to suicide." Right there in Eagle Pass. Right there. I have already been close to, I was there talking to one, and then I got back, and 3 days later, one of them killed himself. I was like, "Oh, please don't let it be the one that I was talking to." And it wasn't. These are 19, 20, 21-year-old kids that have been demoralized, just like the Border Patrol agents, where they're just standing there. Imagine, I tell people, imagine whatever you do. You're your employer. You're a banker, you're a teacher, whatever you do. Your employer one day says, "Okay, you still have your job, but you're not going to do that. You're instead going to do this. And whatever this is, it's illegal, and you're forced to do it."
Victor,
also for law enforcement, it really demoralizes.
Absolutely,
I talk to the wives.
Absolutely,
of the Border Patrol. They don't recognize their husbands anymore.
They don't.
And they want to normalize this. This administration says, "Oh, this is the way it was supposed to be." No,
it's not.
No, it's not. And unfortunately, the truth is this: a lot of Border Patrol agents are throwing their hands up in the air and they're saying, "The hell with it,"
and you can't
blame. And they're giving up. And we don't want that. We need to back them up, and it's gonna. This is the scary part. We know we're going to change in 24, but what are we going to do from now until then? It's a year from now.
It's a year from now, Victor. That's my question to you. And I mean, look.
We're putting pressure. I joined Tom Holman, Border 911. We're trying to open people's eyes. One of the power is to get rid of these people that are doing the policies. Yes, we could do it at the voting booth, but we are forcing them every single way. Lawsuits, any way, because they will not budge. You heard just this last week. In the last week, I've been in Eagle Pass when they were cutting the wire. And then the ruling came from the federal judge, says you cannot cut the wire anymore. And then just yesterday, or 2 days ago, you could cut the wire again. Because the Biden administration doesn't represent us. They represent the cartels. They're on the side of the illegals. They're on the side of not the side of the Constitution, and against us. How in the world do you sue the state of Texas for trying to defend us? But they do. They're like, "Don't you dare put razor wire. Don't you dare stop the people." What do you mean? We're trying to enforce something here. And I want people to understand, this is your government against you. Not in favor of you, but against you. And one of the ways is to remove them. Get them out of the way.
Couple of quick questions. The cartels. I heard a rumor. A good friend of mine called me the other night, out of the blue. Hadn't heard from him in a few years. He's a guest on this network and he's going to be back. Andy Louderback. You may know Andy. He used to be sheriff down in Edna, but he called me and he told me, he said, "Chris," he said, "I'm hearing that the cartels are at war right now. There's a civil war going on with the cartels over the border." And it wasn't a funny laugh he gave. He said, "That's a hell of a note, isn't it, that the cartels are fighting over the United States border? We can't even defend our border, but you got the cartels at war with each other for the control of it." And I'm curious.
Let me give you a quick briefing,
Go ahead.
especially in Arizona. So on the Mexican side, the Sonora part of Mexico, everybody knows the Sinaloa cartel, and Chapo was taken down. When Chapo was taken down, his sons tried to take over the Sinaloa cartel. They're called Los Chapitos. Well, Los Chapitos did not have any clue how to run a drug enterprise. These are the sons that were riding in Ferraris and private jets, and so all of a sudden their dad's in prison and we're going to take over. Well, the guy that actually runs and has always run the Sinaloa cartel is Mayo Zambada, which they see as an uncle. It's not a blood uncle, but they treat him like a blood uncle. And they faction off. So you got Los Chapitos and Zambada. They're all Sinaloa, but two divisions. And those are the ones that have been fighting each other. Well, one of the sons was arrested and extradited to the U.S., and that's hurting the Chapito side. Their main enforcer was just arrested last week. His nickname is El Nini. And so now Maya Zambada has created more power and taking over. I predict that one of the other sons, Ivan, is going to be taken down very soon as well. So all that is helping the original Sinaloa cartel. But my point of why I tell you all this, it's happening on the other side of Arizona. What's happening in Arizona right now? Because when they fight for the plaza. But not only for the plaza, for the control of the movement of fentanyl, methamphetamine,
absolutely,
heroin,
they
cocaine,
do. Drugs.
And humans. And guess what? Right now, they're funneling them. And they're saying, go, pay. You pay me now because I'm Mayo Zambada. I'm the one that has control. And you get the hell out of it. We don't want you here. Boom, boom. Pay. And look at the numbers in Arizona. It's out of control. Why is all this happening? Because of what's happening in Mexico with the cartel. The president of Mexico has decided a long time ago that he wasn't going to do anything to them. But I always look and stay very close with the intelligence in Mexico because it is affecting us directly what the cartels do. And let me tell you something so everybody has it very clear. The cartels live here.
Yeah.
In Arizona, in New York, in Dallas, in Alabama, in Kentucky, in North Carolina, in Dallas, in LA, in Chicago, in Miami, and everywhere in this country. They're 100% here full time.
Absolutely.
And so you have these organizations dealing with local gangs, local gang members that are pushing the drugs, selling them at universities, doing all that. It's orchestrated that way.
Yeah.
And now you have two governments in Mexico. They won't do anything about it. They won't stop the illegal immigration. Remember, most of these people are illegal in Mexico. They could be deported and stopped there.
Very true.
That's not happening. It's not happening on this side. So you have what we're seeing right now, a free-for-all.
Got a great question to you coming out of Facebook tonight, Cora Aguilar, and it's a wonderful question. She says, what percentage of these illegals are being shipped to Democrat cities? And her statement is absolutely brilliant. She says, that seems to be the only way that this border crisis gets covered, Victor, because it's like the thing that happened in Chicago. I mean, those Democrats were pissed, man. They were threatening the Democrat Party, saying, how dare you bring your convention to this city, because we're going to challenge you in the face, in the streets, over this protest. And her question is a good one, because that's the only way it gets covered. That's the only way that the media has to pay attention to it if the Democratic cities go up in smoke. And she's absolutely right.
Let me talk about the buses.
Yes.
People think that it's Governor Abbott sending all the buses. No. Does Governor Abbott send buses? Yes. Very few. The majority, if not almost all the buses, are sent by the Biden administration that you and I are paying for. That is the truth. Does Abbott send buses? Absolutely. Should he continue? At this point, we do whatever to protect our state. But it's Biden.
It's Biden.
It's Biden doing it through the NGOs, the buses, and the airplanes. I just flew. And let me tell you, I fly from El Paso out of San Antonio a lot. It's full of illegal aliens. The airplane that I was in, and I'm taking videos of these people, if there's 140, 150 passengers, 50, 60 are illegal aliens. Think about that. If you go to the gate, and when you come, we're going to see it. When you come, we'll go to the airport so you can see it. I'm going to take you to in San Antonio, if we can, to the facility in San Antonio, that there's thousands of people, because remember, from the border, Eagle Pass, Del Rio, where do they go? San Antonio. Because San Antonio is like another distribution center.
Cedric Gibbons got a great question tonight for you. We're going to keep you about another 15 minutes. How do you stop this madness? And I've asked you this before on the show. If Victor Avila was in charge of everything and you had carte blanche power, what would Victor Avila do to fix this? Because look, I'm fully with you. I wished I was there in Texas. I'd vote for you and I'd help you any way I could. I'll help you from afar even now. We need people like you in Congress, Victor, but I know that it's only half the issue. You've got to have some action from the executive branch, the judicial branch, and the legislative branch of the country.
Yes.
It's got to be our government functioning right, and these local governments, because I think ultimately it comes down to these local sheriffs and these local governments too, not just the feds, but the local. And I know that they're doing the best they can. But what would Victor Avila do tonight to try to stop all this? It's a good question.
So really quick, we're going to unhandcuff all these people. We're going to unhandcuff the sheriffs. We're going to let them go in the back to do their job. Border Patrol, like I told you, that's the easy part. But I'm going to tell you the answer that a lot of times you don't hear. Everybody says, all these candidates running, we're going to secure the border. We're going to shut down the border. How? You have no idea how to do it. I tell you because I do know how. Mexico. We have to deal with Mexico and many other countries, but I'm going to start with Mexico first. We still keep on giving them multi-millions of dollars, if you believe this or not. Look it up. I have it written down, all the money that the U.S. gives these countries, and we're getting absolutely no return on investment. But I want to go above and beyond. Besides the Remain in Mexico policies, and beside all that, we deal with Mexico, and I'm talking about sanctions. I'm talking about serious sanctions, not only just cutting them off financially, but I want to sanction them with the trade that we have there. Now, we have legitimate trade. A lot of stuff that we have in our houses came in a truck to the southern border. And there's going to be a point where us Americans will have to make a little bit of sacrifice. And I'm willing to do it. How? Whatever we trade with Mexico, with Nicaragua, whether it's bananas, avocados, I don't care, furniture, whatever it is, I want to submit a proposal that those countries will be fined, or use whatever word you want. They will have to pay, and I like a $250,000 amount per illegal alien that you allow to come into this country. So let's say we do $5 billion in trade with that country for whatever goods it needs. Well, there's so many Nicaragua nationals
Come
here.
on, buddy.
We're going to deduct $250,000. Let's see if we can get your attention.
That alone, I'd vote for you for president right now. You do that. You forget Congress, man. Just go for the White House. I'll vote for you right now based upon that alone. That's a great answer. Do you think that, you mentioned the Eagle Pass area. Has it, how exponentially more dangerous has it gotten in Texas tonight? Because I know Arizona's an issue, Texas, and you mentioned Mexico. I'm glad you mentioned them. And I don't look for Mexico to do the right thing. You're going to have to punish Mexico to fix this. You do. But
that's the word.
I'm concerned about you guys, the citizens. Are you concerned for safety down there tonight?
There's different levels of concern. People have a general already concern for the regular public safety. You see, what people don't understand, and this is not just in Del Rio and Eagle Pass and El Paso. My parents still live in El Paso.
Right.
They don't recognize their own city anymore. They tell me they don't go to certain places anymore. It has changed their lifestyle, but it has also changed their lifestyle in many, many towns around the country. And I'm talking about when you go to Walmart, when you pump gas.
Yes.
You will be interacting with these people.
Absolutely, you will be.
And they will be coming to knock on your door to do your lawn or your roof or whatever it is. The ones that might want to work. But there's a lot of them, and I'm the first one to tell you this, Chris. I know not all of them are committing crimes. I know that. But I don't need one more rapist.
No, you
I
don't,
don't need
buddy.
one more gang member. I don't need one more cartel member. I don't need one more drug dealer in our country. We have enough of that of our own.
Absolutely, we do.
And this is where people, I beg people, listen, if you become a victim of a crime, which I hope you never do, at the hands of an illegal alien, it's too late. It's too late. We were trying to prevent it. Part of my mission as a law enforcement agent was preventative, to prevent crimes. Not just react to crimes and investigate them, but at one point in my career, we're trying to do something to keep the crimes from happening in the first place. So that's what I would do with Mexico. And one of the biggest things everybody has talked about, I wrote about it in my book, about designating the cartels as terrorist organizations.
Absolutely.
Now,
absolutely.
Everybody says it. I know how to do it. It has to go through the State Department officially, just like ISIS. The Sinaloa cartel should be designated just like ISIS.
Absolutely.
The Cartel Jalisco New Generation, just like ISIS, just like Al Qaeda, just like the Taliban. And guess what? not only are we going to be able to bring a bunch of DOD resources and freeze their assets and seize everything, we get to go after the people that are dealing with them in Chicago, in New York, in Dallas, that work with the cartel, because now that I'm working with the cartel, they're now supplying and facilitating financially a terrorist organization. We get to pick them up too. Because if you start talking to ISIS right now on the computer, you're going to get a knock on your door by FBI.
You will.
Well, guess what?
You will.
If you're a Latin King gang member or a Black Gangster Disciple gang member or whatever, all these 18th Street gang or Mara Salvatrucha, all these gangs that are working with the cartels, guess what? We go after you and pick you up for associating with a terrorist organization. You know what's going to happen, Chris? All these gangs are going to eventually say, whoa. I don't want to get arrested for dealing with a terrorist organization. And that's where we start dismantling it from the ground up, not from the top up down. We cut off the heads of these cartels all the time. 60 more pop up. That's not the way we do it. We have to dismantle and disrupt from the bottom up.
Well, good luck on the FBI showing up at your house, because they're too busy taking care of Catholic pro-lifers than they are to worry about the ISIS connectors.
True, very true.
Great final question from Jamie Wright tonight. It's an excellent question. And I'll just read it to you because it really is good. She says, is every caravan checked? And does the Border Patrol check IDs? Or do they just turn a blind eye? I don't think they turn a blind eye, but that is a great question, because these caravans are multiple thousands of people. Victor, what's the procedure that the border agents do?
Let me run it to you. Let me run you this. Great question, by the way. They're not vetted. That's the easy answer. But I'm going to, just so you know right away, they're not properly vetted. I vetted people in my career. You cannot do it with a 5-minute interview.
No, you can't.
These people are coming from the river. They're taken to an underpass, the bridge. This is Eagle Pass. It's a little different in El Paso and other parts, but I'm describing Eagle Pass for you. They get on a bus. They go to the facility, the soft-sided multi-million-dollar facility that we built for them. They stand in line, and they come up one by one. They have absolutely no ID. No one has ID. If they even did have one, they drop it. You're going to see them at the river. They're either, they don't have driver's license. They usually have their consulate or whatever from their country, passports, whatever form of ID they had, they drop it. And so they come up to the Border Patrol agent. The agent asks them what your name is, and they say whatever name they want to say. And they give whatever address they want to give. And the Border Patrol agent takes their word for it, because there is no vetting. There is no follow-up. It's Jose Lopez, this is the address. Where are you going? Houston. That's the address. And maybe 150 other people already provided that address. Here you go. And next. And that's it. They're issued a lot of different, I sat down with a Border Patrol agent and ran me this process. And I was even confused. And I know the process pretty well. Some of them get issued NTAs, a notice to appear. Some get issued an NTR, a notice to report. Some are placed on ankle monitors. Some are not. Some are given cell phones. Some are not. Some give them a court date. Some are giving nothing. Some are released to the streets. And so in Eagle Pass, continuing that process, when they're done, they put them on a bus. But they're free to go. They can leave. They could go to the streets. But they don't tell them that. They put them on a bus and drive them to an NGO. The NGO in Eagle Pass is this guy that owns the local newspaper there, who's very good friends, by the way, of the incumbent that I'm running against.
Yeah.
Him and his wife run the NGO. He charges each illegal alien $50 to walk in. So when they walk in, $50, you have it? Yes, you go here. You don't have it, $50, you step over here. They will keep them there for 2 to 3 days until they come up for $50, and then they transport them on buses. And guess who owns the buses? He does. They're making billions with a B. Now, if you think $50 is not a lot of money,
it is to them.
$50 times $10,000.
That's a lot of money.
I mean, times 10,000 people.
Absolutely,
is a lot of money.
What a racket!
And it keeps on. Well, so why did the incumbent that I'm running against block the biggest border security bill and killed it? Because they would stop that flow, and somehow, I don't know if he's benefiting from that. I have no idea. All I know is that his actions in Congress helps what's going on right here. He had an opportunity to jump on board and secure this border, and he said no. But you know what he'll tell you right now to your face? That he's all for securing the border. Well, you had the opportunity to vote for the bill. I reviewed the bill. Chip Roy sent it to me and to Tom Homan. We saw the bill. I read it and I thought, oh my God, this is great. We're going to do something, right? Here comes the change. We didn't need the Democrats to kill it because our own Republican Tony Gonzalez killed the bill. This is what we're dealing with. This is a betrayal.
It is.
So that's the process. That's just in Eagle Pass. In El Paso, it's a little different, but it's the same thing. They go through the facility. The facilities are overrun right now. They get released to the street.
Victor, what a great night, buddy. What a great way to start our month of December off with you. I tell you, I always appreciate you coming on, and I know you're tired. You've been traveling today. I'm going to let you go, but I want to give you a final thought, about 2 minutes. I'm going to get with you. As I told you before the show, I'm going to holler at you, and I'll text you this week, and we'll chit-chat a little bit. But I want to tell you, first of all, thank you for being a frontline person on the fight for our border. Your voice is so valuable right now. This clarity tonight, it's as clear to me as the nose on my face, but sadly many, it's not that clear, but you just bring a clarity to it, and I appreciate that. And I'm praying for your campaign. I really am. I'm praying that you will do well and succeed, because we sure need you in Congress more than we've ever needed you. But final thoughts, 2 minutes, wrap us up, tell us what we need to know, and we'll say goodnight, and I'll have you back on probably before the end of the month. We're going to have you back.
Sure. Thank
what's
you so
going
much,
on?
Chris, for having me on. Please
give me your website.
Website. Victor Avila for Congress, FOR, VictorAvilaForCongress.com. Send your donation from wherever you are, because wherever you are, it's going to help me get there. And I secure this part of the border. You'll be secure in your state, because every state is a border state. So go to VictorAvilaForCongress.com. I thank you for everyone's attention today, but also share this information with your friends and family. I know it's very political. They've made it political. I don't know how fentanyl is political, and I don't know how child trafficking is political. It shouldn't. It's public safety. That's what I'm all about, is to finally bring public safety and secure our citizens in this country first, and the illegals have to go. And I'll get with you, Chris, because you understand this, and you're gonna see the difference from the last time you were at the border. It has changed a lot. It has changed for the worse, not for the better. I thought so, the same what you said earlier. When I went there the first time, March of 2021, when this whole fiasco started, and I thought, okay, it can't get worse. It's gotten way worse.
It's way worse. One thing about it, and I'll say this quickly, the Border Patrol agents in 19, the first time I went, they were not like jumping up and down happy, but the morale was at least decent under President Trump. I watched a completely different group of men when I went there in 21, and I can only imagine what you said tonight about the suicides and the pressure these men are under, and women down there tonight. Look, I can't fathom really probably what they're under, and they deserve our prayers and support tonight.
They sure do.
Victor Avila, thank you so much, and best wishes. I'll see you soon, brother. Have a good night.
Take care. Thank you, Chris.
Victor Avila, everybody, put some fire in that house for him. What a good guy right there, and that is one of my dear friends, and I'm proud to call him a friend. He is fighting the fight for us down there at the border. He's in the Eagle Pass area. If you're in the South Texas area, near that area, folks, I encourage you strongly tonight to go to Victor's website, see how you can volunteer. He needs some help, I'm sure, in that area. Rolando was telling me that the Rio Grande Valley down there near McAllen went Republican red in this last election because people are fed up with these feckless Democrats. But I think I'm listening to Victor tonight between the lines, and it's not just the Dems, folks. It's feckless Republicans, and they're not helping matters. And you know, this situation tonight. One reason I brought Victor on, you know, this affects all of us. It don't just affect the people that are on the border states or borderline down there in Arizona, Texas, New Mexico, and California. I don't care where you're at in this country. This is going to affect you long term if we don't get this situation straightened. And he made a great point tonight. I mean, folks, I don't see how we can sustain bringing. I mean, we've already brought 15 million over illegally in 3 years. So let's just toss another 5 million onto the pot. That's 5 million a year. So let's just toss another 5 million. So by the end of this year, coming up in 24, okay, there's a possibility that we will have 20 million illegal aliens, which is almost double. It's 40% So 40% of the entire illegal alien population has come into this country since January of 21. Think about that. That's the facts. That's just numbers. And look, Victor Avila, I'll be the first to tell you, and I'll be the first to tell you, we can't be certain ain't more. That's just what we know about probably, if we know that number. There ain't no telling. It affects you tonight. It affects me. That's why we had Victor on tonight. It's always a pleasure to see my buddy. And looking forward to meeting him in person when we go to Texas in the winter. And we got a lot of things planned. And some of those names you heard tonight, we're working on getting Thomas Holman on the show. Not sure if Marjorie Taylor Greene, we can get her, but I know Thomas Holman used to be the Homeland Security Director under President Trump. And we're going to pull on Victor's coat a little bit, see if he can get us connected to Thomas again. We tried to reach out to him one time before. But listen, we're grateful for you being with me here on this Monday night. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. It's 10 o'clock. It's late. I've been traveling today. I'm going to probably give you a break tonight, but tomorrow we're going to have a double feature. We got Carla Diodesi coming tomorrow night, probably early, 7:30ish, somewhere in that time frame. She has a family, so she's going to come on early tomorrow night. And then I'm going to have a late show. We may have Andy Lauder back on tomorrow night by phone. We're not sure. We're going to talk to Andy, see if he can come on at least for a little bit. Andy's our former sheriff of Edna, Texas, and me and him always used to wear cowboy hats together when we did shows together. We got Richard Burkett coming Wednesday night. We got the good and one and only Eric Karen. Now, Thursday night, McDonald's going to have a patch over his eye, so we're both going to do audio. He told me he could only do audio Thursday night. I said, well, that's probably good because Chris is going to look like a pirate Thursday night because I got my eye surgery Thursday morning. So you won't see me by camera Thursday, but you will see me and hear my voice. And Friday, we may have the one and only Tony Branco back with us. So we got a star-studded lineup. Bill Federer next week. Got him coming next week. Marcia Montenegro coming back Tuesday night next week. I told you we had an all-star lineup, and we got a lot of great folks coming. And this is the holiday season. And, next couple of weeks before we get into the Christmas season, we'll be here most nights. And we'll definitely do some single shows as well, like a mano. I got to say this tonight. I know we're talking serious border stuff, and in the light of that, this is irrelevant, I guess. But I was watching the mainstream media tonight, and even the mainstream media in Fox tonight was talking about what happened to my Florida State Seminoles. And you say, well, I thought you were a Georgia Bulldog fan. I am. I grew up in Georgia, but I really, really grew up in South Georgia. And it was 20 miles north of Tallahassee. I lived in Tallahassee for many years in North Florida. So I was a Seminole before I was a Bulldog. And really, I've always been a Seminole. I've watched the program go up and down through the years. Bobby Bowden was one of the absolute best coaches I've ever known. He loved his players. And Florida State's been through a lean decade. They really have. They've had some tough times. Mike Norvell is a Christian. He's a believer, and their current coach. And I watched a video of him Saturday night. Their star quarterback, Jordan Travis, had broke his leg, and he was on the field rooting for his team. And Mike walked up to him, hugged his neck, and you could hear the mic, and he said, "I love you." And I thought to myself, what a coach. Wouldn't you like to have your kid playing for a coach? His star quarterback could not play. He had broke leg, but he went out there and he hugged him, gave him a hug of support, and just said, "I love you, and I'm proud of you. I appreciate you." That's the kind of coach I want having my kids. Well, Florida State went 13-0 this year, won the ACC, won the championship, and this buffoon college football committee, basically, which a bunch of politicians is running it, and a bunch of brainless athletic directors. They decided that Florida State, there's 4 spots. I know some of you this don't make any sense, but there's some sports fans out there that understand what I'm talking about tonight. There were 4 spots to go into the college football playoff. They picked 2 undefeated teams, Michigan and Washington, so there was 2 other spots. And, my Dogs lost Saturday to Alabama, and Texas beat Oklahoma State. Well, Florida State didn't lose. They won Saturday night, and they beat the number 14 ranked team in the country in Louisville. They went 13-0. Same record as Michigan, same record as Washington. Well, this committee says, well, we don't think you're qualified to play in the playoffs. And they did not allow them to participate. Alabama and Texas were put, they both had one loss apiece. And the committee betrayed the sanctity of the NCAA. Basically, they betrayed their conscience and soul. I don't mind saying it's my show. I can have an opinion show. I hope that check that the SEC wrote to the NCAA was big enough, and I hope it's worth their soul. Now, you Bama fans out there, this is nothing personal, but I hope your team loses by 60. I hope Texas loses by 60. They don't deserve to be in that playoff. If Florida State does not deserve to be in that playoff, they sure don't. It was a travesty of sports. It was a travesty beyond words. And this is why people are souring on sports. They don't care for sports because of this political stuff. It's nothing against Bama. It's nothing against you Bama fans. We still love you guys. But this is a travesty. And I would say this, even if they would have put Georgia in that playoff, which is my team tonight, if they would have put Georgia in that spot, I would not have been happy. I would have probably rooted for Florida State. I would have rooted for whoever's playing against Georgia because I don't like this kind of stuff. I feel for those kids tonight. I feel for that players. I feel for Coach Norville. I saw he put a tweet out yesterday being disgusted, hurt for his team. You put yourself as a coach. They play their backsides off for 13 games. It's hard to go undefeated in any sport, folks. It's hard. You got 18 to 22-year-olds. Their emotions up and down. They don't come to every game prepared to play, but he got them to play flawless football for 13 games. You get to the end of the year, you win your division, you win your championship, your league, your ACC, the conference. You're a conference champion, 13-0. And then the NCAA says that's not good enough for you to compete for a national championship. Put yourself in the players' place tonight. Put yourself in Mike Norville's place tonight. Ain't a good place to be. It ain't a good place that we're in this country. I know that in the light of the border, this is not important, but I had to get that off my chest tonight. And I'm doing it tonight because I probably would be a lot more louder and a little bit more crash about it because I've went a little tired tonight, so I figured I better do it tonight and do it calmly. But I want to tell the Florida State University tonight, I love you. I'm a Knoll. I'm one of you. And you got screwed royally. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't care who wins this thing now. I could care less. I'm a sports fan, folks. Look, I love sports. I know you sanctimonious folks out there that, well, I just don't like sports. And it's just not, okay, it's not your thing, but it's Chris's thing, okay? I'm sorry. I'm going to enjoy my sports. I like my sports. I don't worship sports. They're not my gods, but I like sports. And I like football. And I like college football. And I like high school football. I can't stomach the pros, but I thought the college football would be less tainted by politics and less tainted by money than any of these pro events. And the high schools are getting affected by it now. The colleges are selling their soul for money. And it's sad. And basically the conventional wisdom is that they did not want the playoffs to go without an SEC team. I'll give you a little heads up about that. ESPN is the one sponsoring the college football playoffs. Guess who just paid close to $10 billion for the contract next year to broadcast SEC games? You got it, ESPN. So you do the math and you figure that out. And they're the ones that were in charge of the playoff committee as to who would play on their network for the national championship in January. This is the kind of stuff that makes me want to gag. But I had to say it tonight because I feel for these kids. I feel for Jordan Travis. He broke his leg. It wasn't his fault. It's just a freak accident. And the coach still kept the team together with a second. And they won Saturday night with their third-string quarterback. Their third string, he had never taken but 4 snaps in his life. And they still won Saturday night. But that wasn't good enough to let them compete for a championship. We call that bullshit in the South. And a travesty of justice in sports. And I'll leave it at that. All right. Now, that's my 2 cents for tonight. I'll say more about that tomorrow night on the Late Show when the adults are in the house and I can talk a little bit more freely than I can right now with the kids still up. I'll just leave it at that. I'm very calm. By the way, Rumble, you're going to be watching this on replay after I finish tonight. We want to welcome you guys back to the McFiles Network. Don't be misbehaving yourself out there. Please don't. Don't be putting your flat earth links in my chat room and all your other crap. Listen to my guest and enjoy Victor Avila. We're grateful to be back on Rumble this week as we're practicing till January the 1st. We're going to be back on there officially in January. But we're practicing on you tonight and a few of these other interviews coming up. We're practicing on Rumble. But we're going back to Rumble come January. And that's all I got tonight. I don't want to add anything to what Victor said. I think Victor said it all. He said it pretty good. Anyway, I'm grateful that you are here. And anyway, this will be reposted to Telegram. That's exactly right. Who cares? God does it. BM, you know something? Get a life. I know, as I said, you sanctimonious folks out there. BM, it's okay. God maybe don't care, but God looks at the hearts of those kids, and I guarantee you He does care. He's this corruption that you claim He don't care about. It's not whether it's sports or financial or the government, folks. It's all corruption. So, BM, I disagree with your little smart aleck remark about God cares. Have a good night, okay? Have a good night. I care. Because if that had been my kid that gave their all in all to play sports and risk their life, basically, when they go on that football field and they get done like this, you'd care about it too if it was your child. So don't give me the self-righteous, sanctimonious act tonight, okay? We got enough of them people running around these days, and we don't need any more. All righty. Listen, I'll let you go tonight. I knew I could get a snarky, sarcastic jab in before the night was out. It wouldn't be the McFiles if we didn't do that, right? We're grateful for you tonight. Have a good night, everybody. I'll see you in the morning on the Faith Network. And I'm going to play a little going out music so you can chit-chat with everybody. Enjoy your night. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night, everybody. Carla Diodesi tomorrow night.